It's Lester Martin again from Datavolo, your developer advocate. Hey, I did a little presentation, I guess a data community broadcast with Bob Paul and not too long ago. We talked a little bit about open source vision models. Good stuff. If you haven't seen it, I'll put a link in the description below. And part of that I want to really spend some time with today is our PDF annotator, Datavolo's PDF annotator. Now I did a YouTube short that kind of visualized this. I did some pen and paper saying here's this document with headers and footers and text and tables and graphics, and I talked about how we take that and we parse it apart in our flow, and then ultimately we see it in bits and pieces of the PDF. I want to show you that in a little more detail today. So what you're looking at here is a flow. Now this flow is all about taking some financial 10K records and doing the flow that you see in my understanding rag page up on the Datavolo site. Again, another link I'll put in the description. So what did I do originally? I really just I stopped it about right here because we can go into all the other fun stuff in another video, but here I want to focus on two quick things. One, in another video I'll go in great detail about how we can do event-driven CDC, including metadata changes and that kind of stuff from SharePoint and S3 and all that good stuff. But ultimately what I did here is I pulled down some financial 10K docs, and here's one of those from the Security and Exchange Commission, a good well-known company there, as you'll see on screen. And these are pretty text-heavy docs, in fairness. Now I'll scroll down about page 22 or so. I think I got some stuff. There's some more tables, and then there's a graphic here and stuff. Tables and docs with a few graphical images in there. Now we have a Parse PDF document processor. It's a Datavolo processor itself. I'll zoom in a little bit more there. So those docs are coming in here, and this thing, what it's doing, it's breaking that PDF apart into basically text that it knows about, can understand, and in fact starts building a JSON object version of that, as well as the things that maybe aren't so easy to look at, those tables, and then maybe those images. And you see here already broken apart one big JSON with text, and let's just look at some of these things as we go. All right, so I'm going to look into this queue here as it's paused, and I will just simply say let's view the content of that. Now this is a JSON doc representing that financial 10K doc. Some of this stuff is long, big blurbs of text, but we're building a hierarchy, as you see there, 1.2.7.7, so on. We're building a hierarchy that represents a well-nested document based on that computer vision mojo that Bob was showing us and telling us all about. All right, back on our thing, what else is happening is there are some, some graphics. Now, as we said, there weren't too many graphics per se, or just pure images. Here's an example of one, a bar chart, or a little bit of a chart here, graph here, etc. So those are interesting. But there's a ton of tables in here. And again, I'm not going to show you everything that's on this video. That's more to come. I want to focus on this cool thing here. And some of these are examples. I think I captured one that's worth looking at. I think of the 12732.2. Maybe this one is a nice one. View content. There you go. Just a classic kind of table that you see there from the PDF itself. So as I go back to the flow itself, what else we're trying to show is, because this JSON right here, everyone does this. Everyone does this in their system, and you're supposed to be able to read this and figure all this out, and that's important. It's valid. It has a lot of validity to it. But what we like to do is basically say, well, probably especially in your dev time, and I'll tell you about a runtime benefit of this, but a dev time benefit of this is we might want to go see that as the computer saw. Using that computer vision, let's use our vision and see if it did a pretty good job on that. So I'm going to grab this content modified provenance event, and right here we got a little inner code, a little PDF annotations link. I'm going to pop into that. Now this should look like this. This was that doc we saw a few minutes ago, the Apple 10K. Let me go back down to page 22, 23, because I'm going to get there in this code. And what you're seeing here is just the markup. These are those bounding boxes that we've been talking about, and what they are. And these are, you see the container number above that narrative text, container number, all the good stuff. And as I mentioned, at some point, maybe around page 22 or so, we start seeing graphics and stuff. Remember, we pulled an image out, we pulled some tables out, and those kinds of good details here. I think some more tables right there. And you can see what's popping up, what what we already know at that point in time. There's still more work to do on these images and graphics, but what we did in this viewer is try to help you understand these bounding boxes. And we built a lot of traceability here. That whole section is built in here, 1.2.7. You can kind of have fun with this. But if you remember, you don't remember, but I wrote it on a piece of paper. Remember, it was 1.2.7. What was it? 27.2 maybe? Yep, there's that graphic. So you're getting that kind of built-in traceability if you're looking at the JSON back and forth that you might reference. You might want to reference here. I'm going to look at the 32.2, I think was a table. Yeah, absolutely right there. So this is pretty awesome stuff. And then, of course, you have your basic looking for just content, of course. If you want to do those kinds of things. And that also helps you find like iPhone and then link back to what sections that might be in there as well. So this is very useful for dev time to really see if everything's working the way you want, etc. But I think a real powerful feature for this, of course, what are we doing all this for? We're doing it to load data ultimately in those vector databases. Why? So those AI apps can, retrieve some additional content to pass into the LLMs and get meaningful, valuable answers based on your enterprise. And this is those great steps to help us with that traceability. If you want to kind of go back to source and yank exactly what we saw at that time and say, hey, I use this content, either logging or maybe some apps you want to show that stuff on screen. So for me, this is some pretty awesome stuff, and I hope it was useful for you too. Thanks.